As a preschooler, I grew extremely stressed with jigsaw puzzles. Despite this, though, I loved their idea from the beginning, taking small pieces to create a masterpiece. This is what attached me to editing videos as a hobby once I first found out that I could simply do so on a laptop. It fascinated me to see how one addition or omission could affect the entire piece and what audiences would perceive. When I walked into the doors of middle school, I started using the experience I developed to my advantage and produced minute but entertaining pieces that would play during school assemblies. I created, or helped created, so many of these little promotional flicks that I began editing for a local Chinese martial arts team, which they featured on their Instagram pages. By the time I got to 10th grade, I believe my portfolio was filled enough with local endeavors and I could move on to the bigger leagues. Hollywood, here I come! Spoiler alert, I received several rejections. Hopefully, after today, your rejections will be less impactful on your self-esteem than they were on mine. Because I felt I had produced at least 20 promotional flicks up to this point, I thought I had enough under my belt to graduate from Little League video editing. While there were so many factors that played into me making the leap, perhaps the most influential driver for me to go big was the entertainment industry, especially social media. They slowly built up an anxiousness within me to match what people my age were doing. And as illustrated by this extremely sophisticated graph, said anxiousness was only amplified and intensified when I learned that people my age had both shared mutual friends of mine and became lead actors in series produced by Netflix and Disney. When I additionally considered the length of my career, if I intended to go to Hollywood through the conventional route, which, according to the LA Times, is on average 8 years as an apprentice editor before becoming a union one, I didn't think I had too much time left to establish my greatness. And so I adopted a now or never attitude. If I couldn't make myself big now, when would I get another opportunity? Either try to exit now and try to take the back roads to success, or stay on the 405 for 20 years before I finally get to the Walk of Fame. To test my luck and to see how well my jigsaw fit into the puzzle that is Hollywood, I suggested to the agents of various social media personalities that I edit for their clients. I proposed that I would edit their content, add some more charm, and woo over their audiences. My hopes could not be farther from reality. A few days after receiving a tentative response from the first one I contacted, the agent responded with this. Hi, David. After further speaking to my client, we are going to take a pass right now as their team has a very good handle on this. Thank you for considering her, and we will let you know if we need anything in the future. When I tried proposing to other personalities, hoping that maybe the third or fourth time would be the charm, every reply I received was a rejection. And that's not even counting the emails where I got no response. The sweat on my fingers grew exponentially as I read every next word of the emails, or lack thereof. When my sweat glands were empty, I started to lose ambition, and anxiety started to fill the gaps that ambition previously held. Slowly, the anxiety translated more and more into a blend of fear and disappointment. They didn't need me. And because they implied that so many times, I adopted that message to apply to the entire industry, and for now I bid my farewell to Hollywood. In many ways, my story isn't necessarily an abnormality. The concept of rejection in any case is a psychology that is extremely common. According to Psychology Today, a study shows that rejection can inflict a level of physical pain on our bodies comparable to what most people would take ibuprofen or Tylenol for. And almost like magic, the study points to the idea that rejection incites us to take on a quest of destroying our self-esteem. These people speak my language. The American Psychiatric Association also poses an interesting theory. Rejection is one of the most inherent human feelings that we've genetically had and have had since the Stone Age. Rejection was a feeling that many of us had when we felt we were about to become removed from our tribe. When we believed we were going to be ostracized, we changed our behavior. It helped us recognize when something was going suboptimally. And even though we don't live in caves anymore, at least most of us, we still live with this attribute of ours in the complex societies we've created today. Many scientists agree that humans are insanely social animals. For proof of this, just look at our Instagram and TikTok addictions. Rejection isolates. It creates a rift between ourselves and who we want to be with. But it's also probably something we're better off being familiar with. Even though our muscles first said that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, our emotions do happen also to be singing some Kelly Clarkson. So, did my ambition die down? That I never attempt to work in entertainment again? That I trapped myself in my room for 2 years straight contemplating? Did I get kicked out of school? Is it raining cats and dogs? Are the cats and dogs themselves raining cats and dogs? Am I hyperventilating? Those are the thoughts that rejection, especially repeated rejection, can give. And I'm confident that I would likely lose my sanity by pushing my lack of luck even further. In retrospect, it was too grandiose of an idea to seriously invest myself into such a possibility. Many interns are given their opportunities in college, not high school. So don't let the image of others' early success divert you away from developing your passion. It would be better to pursue a path similar to Janusz Kaminski, who was a cinematographer for Steven Spielberg. He focused on his own path. Fame was what followed him, and not his ultimate goal. Despite this, I still consider my first rejection at Hollywood the greatest rejection of my life. I learned to recognize my anxiousness and challenge my previous persona head-on, almost like it was a reality check. If you do something similar to me, you might have better luck. But if you're shunned from the world of professionals, regardless of what industry you're in, it would be better to take away the lessons from the experience instead of taking your passion away from yourself. What can you learn from those who rejected you? If you try again, what would you change? Is this even the best way to profit and/or exercise your passion in the first place? Something I'd like to do is try to learn from my experience and apply the feedback into my passion. I use that experience to ensure that the next time I leap, I have a better chance of making it across. And if you do get rejected, if you follow a similar path to me, you'll be more prepared for rejection. You'll certainly have a much easier time emotionally than someone who expects everything. There is an anxiety within myself and so many others around the world because people so young are doing things so significant on both the silver screen and the small screen, you want to catch up with their achievements. The social media celebrities are putting on a product so similar to what you do as a hobby or a part-time gig that you see yourself as inferior in needing so much more dedication. Despite their successes though, especially in this industry, so many of us have skills that we each developed on our own without the financial backing of sponsors and TikTok. Master these skills, like video editing for me, and they can fit you into more puzzle pieces over time than the content creators at the top, whose puzzle pieces may very well break down because they rose at such a young age without taking much time to hone their craft. It reminds me of the story of Kaminski. He worked on nearly every Spielberg movie, from Saving Private Ryan to Schindler's List. He didn't necessarily try to woo over the young or jump in. He did his own thing, and he waited to be discovered instead of trying to solicit himself the same way I did. Today, Kaminski is an Oscar winner and works with so many others in the movie industry. It would be better to replicate his success over time instead of focusing so much on what you can get now rather than then. Thank you.